Well, the world is on the edge amidst the simmering tensions between Russia and Ukraine. In fact, the conflict seems to have entered a new phase after the Russian president has gone ahead and said that Russia will recognize the two East Ukrainian regions that are being held by pro Russian separatists as independent. In fact, he has also ordered the movement of more troops into East Ukraine. Now, this move has been widely condemned by global leaders. In fact, US President Joe Biden has already announced sanctions against these two East Ukrainian regions, and the US is also working on fresh sanctions on Russia that will be announced as early as today. In fact, the European Union may also be working on announcing fresh sanctions on Russia. The UN Security Council, in fact, held an emergency meeting last night to discuss the military deployment by Russia into Ukraine. When you talk about the diplomatic talks that were being held between Russia and the West, well, the French President Emmanuel Macron had emerged as a key diplomat in that area. In fact, the French President also held hectic parties over the weekend with the US President as well as the Russian President in a bid to diffuse tensions between Russia and the West. In fact, till yesterday, if reports are to be believed, White House as well as some French media were reporting that the US President had actually given in principle a nod to hold a summit with the Russian President and discuss the situation in Ukraine. However, Kremlin was quick to dismiss any such reports and said that there were no concrete plans for Biden and Putin to meet and discuss the Ukrainian situation. When you look at the market reaction, well, it's a terrible Tuesday when it comes to global stock markets, with most of the Asian indices from Nikkei to Hang Seng, all of them ending lower by about 2 to 3% apiece. US markets were shut last night on account of President's Day. But if you look at the US futures, well, Dow futures are down about 500 points, and the Nasdaq is also down about 2.5% or so. The Indian markets are not far behind. When you look at the indices, the Sensex opened down by about 1,000 points, and the Nifty is also slipped below that 17,000 mark. When we look at the oil prices, Brent has topped that $96 a barrel mark and is now making its way towards that dreaded $100 a barrel mark. Investors are already fretting over the prospects of 6 to 7 interest rate hikes by the US Federal Reserve to combat inflation, and now the simmering oil prices in fact pose a threat to already high inflation in the US as well as the European region. The global markets have been on tenterhooks for the past several weeks in the wake of a threat of a Russian invasion into Ukraine, and that is evident by the fact that equity markets have seen wild rides over the last few sessions. The oil markets have been elevated, and volatility is something that has reigned supreme in global markets. Well, the latest turn of events have poured cold water over hopes of a diplomatic resolution to the crisis between Russia and the West. However, investors will still be hoping that a full-blown war could be averted. We'll have to wait and see how the situation unfolds from here. But for now, it looks pretty bleak when it comes to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine.